Welcome to the Link in the Chain podcast. I am Councillor Barbara Murray, the current Lord Mayor of Liverpool. I'm delighted that you are joining us here today in the Town Hall, and I hope over these podcasts to show you more of the Town Hall and to let you hear more of its history. As well as that, we will be talking about volunteers, community activists, everybody who's helping me to fundraise during my mayoral year. And we will be welcoming in as many interesting people as possible on that really wonderful journey. My guest today is Gary Miller, former councillor, former Lord Mayor of Liverpool, and a good colleague of mine over very many years. And we're going to talk today, Gary, about fundraising for the Lord Mayor, for the Lord Mayor's fund or the Lord Mayor's charity, because that's one of the big jobs the Lord Mayor has to do. And obviously, having done it before, you are a fountain of knowledge.
Do you know, it's really interesting. 12 years ago is when I did it. So I was Lord Mayor 2013-14. And you know what, Lord Mayor? It was the best experience of my life in this wonderful city. Here I am, an adopted Scouser from Edinburgh, a great city, but actually this is my home. I completely adore the citizens, the people that live here, but actually people across the city region, because I discovered that not only are they so generous in spirit, in soul, in mind, but also with money.
Yes, indeed.
And we're here partly to talk about fundraising. So it's an absolute pleasure to co-chair your fundraising committee with amazing volunteers, every one of them working so hard to help you raise money for what you call skills acquisition, apprenticeships, internships, literacy, spoken word, storytelling. But in my head, it's all about changing the lives of young people that actually, through storytelling, through literacy, the fact that they might do an apprenticeship, the fact that they might do some learning project is really, really important. But when they can tell their story and actually feel that they can, and I mean confident in able to be able to do that, that's where the money is going, to change lives and take those young people out of poverty into perhaps college, perhaps into an apprenticeship, perhaps into university. The world is their oyster, and it's starting partly here through the work that you're doing from the Town Hall, from Liverpool City Council, from Liverpool as a city, but actually taking your message through these podcasts, but actually going out into communities, going to community centres, going to schools, whether they be primary, whether they be secondary, whether they be enhanced learning, whether it be a college, or as I said before, a university, or a community centre, or with veterans, working with our older senior citizens to our younger intergenerational. We can make a huge impact with £1, with £10, with £1,000. So I would ask our corporates, our businesses, our institutions, our organisations, or just the people that live in Walton, Woolton, Yewtree, into Old Swan, across the entire city. If you can afford to give a little bit of money to the Lord Mayor's charity, you'll be adding to the millions of pounds that all Lord Mayors have been raising over the many, many years. And that's something about being Lord Mayor and about being a councillor. Not many people out there realise what the Lord Mayor does And fundraising is such an important thing because you're able to use that magic chain, that chain reaction to make an impact. And it isn't just pennies. Millions of pounds have been raised by amazing Lord Mayors who work so hard every single day, 365, 366 days a year, if it's a leap year. They are doing amazing things across the city, across the country, and in some cases across the world to raise money for good causes. So I thank you, Lord Mayor, for what you are trying to do and will be doing this year, whether it be fundraising events, lunches, dinners, shaking fundraising boxes and buckets and things. Buckets. We'll be having a conversation about buckets today. We want venues to put little collection boxes in their venues. So when their visitors come in, they could put £1 or a tenner or £20 into that box, because every penny will count. And that's that ripple effect. Hold on, that's that chain reaction, isn't it? That helps us raise as much money.
And that's how we all become a link in the chain.
Of course.
Which is this big chain, which I haven't actually got on. I've just realised.
Don't worry, people will see you in that magic chain.
It's here in the picture.
Yes, it is. And it goes back to 1893, that chain.
Indeed.
And the back of each chain is the name of each Lord Mayor. And I say hats off. Yeah. Even that tri-corner hat with a big feather. It's important. It's civic. You don't wear that all the time. No. You're not wearing that today. Mainly civic events, isn't it? But actually, it's something that, from a heritage point of view, is something to appreciate. History is wonderfully important. Queen Victoria decided that you, Lord Mayor, would be one of the 21 Lord Mayors in the United Kingdom, with the province in Scotland as an example. 21. You were the lucky 21 every year, and it started for us in 1893, but it actually started as the ceremonial mayor back in 1207. Yeah. And you think your name, Lord Mayor, will appear on that brass plate, and in 800 years' time, 1,000 years' time, people will be looking at that thinking, who is Councillor Barbara Murray? Well, you will make your mark this year.
Yes.
That's part of the chain reaction. Yeah. But they won't necessarily know how much you've raised. But I will say it'd be thousands of pounds.
Well, I think we just aim to raise as much as we can.
Of course.
And there are lots of causes and lots of charities out there, all doing good work and all trying to raise money. But I don't think anybody is focused on what I'm focused on. So I'm not in competition, and it's not really a situation where I can pull on heartstrings. What I have to say is it's about putting important things in front of people. So, for example, literacy. You know, in Liverpool now, Gary, there are good jobs and we can't fill them because not everybody's qualified enough to fill those jobs. Literacy is very important regardless of your age, whether you're a school child or a grown-up trying to get work. We are currently, as part of the literacy cycle, in 2025 Liverpool Year of Spoken Word, which is why it's great to be doing podcasts and stuff to do with spoken word. We're all going to a big event on Friday, the Poetry Expo. But, you know, literacy is important, and to me, economically important. So we can get those better jobs. But in the year of spoken word, it's really important to remember so many people hate the job interview. They go into panic to sell themselves. You know, they cannot do that. So that's one of the things we're supporting this year. Another one is Liverpool Poetry Space, and that's about giving a space to creative industry, because we read, we write, and we speak poetry or perform it. So it does all of those things. But wouldn't it be lovely? Chris McCabe, who's the founder of Liverpool Poetry Space, said, we have places to go for art, places to go for music, places to go to get books, libraries, etc. We don't have anywhere for poetry. And yet in London on the South Bank they do. So why has Liverpool not got such a space? We've got a great tradition of poetry in the city, and we are great storytellers as well. And then the other beneficiary of my fundraising, I hope this year, will be youth work apprentices.
Yes.
And it's a sad one, really, that over years of cutbacks, not only in Liverpool, right across the country, there is no youth workers. So even if you had money to pay a youth worker, they're not there to employ. And we actually need highly qualified youth workers at this time, when young people's problems are becoming even more complex with mental health issues, with the use of technology, cyberbullying, these sort of things. And I just think we can't expect schools to do any more. We literally cannot ask schools to do any more than what they're doing. We need health professionals to look after the mental health of young people, but we also need these reliable guides to come and put the arm around children and say to them, you know, signpost to them, you could do this. Open up what the opportunities are in life. I was just talking to someone earlier about how people don't always see beyond their own family when they're looking for a work opportunity. You know, they just see what the mum and dad are doing. But there's loads of jobs out there, and there's actually quite a lot of jobs now to do with technology. What shocks me is, you know, I have done multimedia training. I did it after my degree at Liverpool. So I know how to code and build websites and do those sort of things. And I find it quite shocking that most young people don't. They just use the technology. They haven't mastered how you make it. And the industry in Liverpool used to be really good, the tech industry, and it could be revitalised, you know. And this is, opportunities are the thing. But I think the apprentices in particular for youth work, if we can get people on those pathways, they can go on to university, get a degree, and because of the apprenticeship levy, have no debt. But they're coming out back into our community with degree level skills that can be employed, you know, and they can get those higher paid jobs. And that's where we get this message of
Can I just say something?
The route
there?
out of poverty.
So I disagree with you slightly, Lord Mayor.
Yep.
You said that we can't, through your fundraising, pull at people's heartstrings. I think we can.
Oh, tell me how.
Humanizing making personal what you're trying to do. So let's take youth workers, for example.
Yeah.
We need more youth workers. And part of the reason is there are people out there in care, in vulnerable, disadvantaged backgrounds that need, as you've just said, that shoulder to cry on, that virtual hug by people who have been through what they have been through or are going through themselves. So if you can find the right people from difficult backgrounds, disadvantaged communities, and give them some way of feeling ambitious enough that they now know, I can be this person, I can be this youth worker. It could start with storytelling, telling their story that leads to better maths, better English, better qualifications, going to college, going to university, and being supported by all these businesses out there that are looking for people with a creative mind. And if we can find more of those, we'll get more youth workers. So your work actually will change lives. Now look at me. I came from a care background. I used to get battered at home, a lot of domestic violence, wasn't healthy, was a dreadful childhood. And eventually I became Lord Mayor of the city, and I've written a best-selling book that's doing really well, published by Writing on the Wall. If I never had that opportunity, I would never have been able to tell my story. And very often you look at people, whether they are from a poor background or a rich background or somewhere in the middle. You don't know their background, but once you do, you kind of understand the authentic individual that you're having this conversation with. And I think if we can find mechanisms to help those that need that kind of creative, right-brained assistance to tell their story through poetry, through book writing, through acting, which actually starts with book writing, with poetry.
Exactly.
Songwriting starts with poetry and telling your story. Liverpool is full of masses, thousands of, maybe hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurially minded individuals who want to sing a song, who want to write a book, who want to write a poem. And I think in the podcast that you did previously with Joseph Roberts, the poet, was just perfect because it summed up somebody who through poetry
Indeed.
is doing really well in inspiring others. And that's another thing. If you can change somebody's life, they become role models for others.
Indeed.
And they get qualifications, they get jobs. They might not get qualifications. Not everybody wants a qualification. But what they do want is that virtual or that genuine hug. They want to feel loved. They want somebody to mentor them. And they want to feel as though they're not alone. And storytelling broadcasts that wider story about you, your life, your creativity, your culture, you as a person. And then actually, once you feel more confident, you're more confident in an interview, you're more confident in a sales position, you're more confident in dealing with others. So I actually think there's a lot of emotion behind what you are trying to do, because you are genuinely going to change lives by allowing people to become their authentic selves, tell their story, and go out there and actually get that job, write that book, produce that movie, sing that song. Creativity is the very golden thread of this city. Its city has got entrepreneurs and creativity in every household, in every corner. They just need to know.
Yeah.
And we're opening that up.
I think so. And I think it's interesting what you said there, Gary. You made me cast my mind back. Our first cohort of young apprentices were young, and they themselves had lots of needs.
Yes.
And they will tell you how far they've come. It's interesting, only the people who sort of knew them at the start realise how far they went. We put them on Kickstart
Yes.
to learn English and maths first, and then they did the apprenticeship, at the end of which they could stand in a room full of people and present what they had been doing as an apprentice to everybody and speak confidently. So, you know, that pulled on our heartstrings. The steering group around them, we were all in tears, actually. It happened up the road in Anfield. And it was only because we knew how far those young people had come. So, yes, there is.
And that's the emotion that you're going to bring to this with funding that's going to help these storytelling projects and these apprenticeship projects and these internship projects. That's where the money, the practical side is going. Mm-hmm. But you will have people in a room getting emotional and crying when they hear the story from start to finish of how you've changed somebody's life. So there is a human side to what you're trying to do, and that is what the fundraising committee should be helping, and is helping you.
Oh, they will.
Get that message across.
They will. And it's not just about changing lives, it's about changing the world. Because if we change those lives, the community becomes stronger and better.
Yes.
That's what we want, positive outcomes. We want our young people not going into crime and ASB. We want them to do worthwhile things and to respect themselves and others.
Respecting themselves is incredibly important. They can, I think, only start to respect themselves when they understand themselves better. And I think verbalizing your life story and writing it down or speaking it out loud is hugely cleansing and cathartic. And actually, you then discover there's more people like me.
Yeah.
And that's where that collegiate teamwork is really, really important. So all the projects I know you're involved in is about sharing best practice, sharing stories, sharing experiences, saying thank you, please, you're welcome, a good smile, many tears. There'll be lots of tears, but tears is a good thing because it releases some of that pent-up frustration and trauma and upset that people have had. I want to see more of that, and we can do that through storytelling.
We can indeed.
Yes.
And you're a great storyteller. Gary
Thank
Miller,
you.
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Link in the Chain podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's so important that you do that for us. Thank you.